Well, guys, it's Chet again. I'm going to come at you real quick with kind of a quick review on a gun that we've drug out to the range several times and not quite gave it the showcase, that it deserves. But what we're looking at here, this is a Soviet, they call it a Semenov auto rifle, an SKS. I purchased this gun in 1997. And it actually has the original import marks from Sacramento, California, and that kind of tells the age of the gun since they don't import anything into there anymore. But it's a real fine rifle. The Soviet ones are real hard to come by nowadays, but there's still a lot of Chinese variants, and the Yugoslavian one is around in relative numbers, but I've got this one modded out a little bit, and just for fun, and I've shot so many rounds through this guy. This is back in the day when I could get 1,000 rounds for $79. So it's got the nickel plated, the chrome nickel vanadium. It's some kind of an alloy in the barrel. It's supposed to be guaranteed for 40,000 rounds, but we're gonna take a quick look at it here, and she's got a lot of rounds shot through her. And the bore and everything still looks like new. And I'm the original owner of this gun. I got it unissued, and it's just in simply beautiful condition. But it's your standard SKS Soviet auto, and a couple of the mods that I got on. I'm kind of a bigger guy. I'm sure you guys can see from my videos, but got an extender on the butt plate here, and it does have the finger hole where I can still stick it up in there and eject the cleaning case and everything that's stored in the stock. This really helps out, if you're a bigger guy, to give you that extra reach, because these are a relatively short gun. They're made to fit, a wide variety, I guess, of height and weight builds, and across the Indochina and some of the comm block countries and stuff like that. Fellas are a little smaller, and they can really saddle up on this buttstock here. So one of the things here you're going to notice is the magazine. This one here did come standard, with a 10-round detachable box magazine, and originally, if you look at it on the top here, you'll see that it's got the notches right here. That notch is to feed a stripper clip of 10 rounds into the box mag, and it did have the box magazine on it with the dropout floor plate. And I have since got numerous 30-round detachable magazines. Really quite easy. It requires you to pull out the trigger assembly and to put your detachable box. The gun was originally made to accept detachable box magazines with the duckbill platform. It was always a prototype model. It was only issued with the box magazine with the dropout floor plate for 10 rounds for troop issue. I guess they just thought that fellas were going to spend too much ammunition. The gun was always intended to have this dropped out, contrary to popular belief. And that is what the large magazine drop or floor plate drop right here is actually for. The gun was intended for the duckbill, and actually the early drum magazines, some of the earliest drum magazines, came out on these. Are pretty rare on the open market now, but these guns were actually trialed for drums and set up with a bayonet lug bipod. With the longer barrel length on these and rapid fire concession and stuff, you really don't get that kind of RPK, performance out of these like they were expecting. But this gun is relatively long. I do have a muzzle brake on it here, and it is ported out the top. You guys can see here, and a lot of guys will say these things fly down range, but a little bit of Loctite on the keeper here, and it's slid over there. I've had it there for, since the 90s. But I do have the original bayonet, and I took it off just because I'm not going to be stabbing anybody when I'm out shooting. And spring-loaded, locks, and it recesses into the stock here. You guys are maybe wondering about the stock color. The stock color is custom. I simply took the old lacquer off. They shellacked these when they stored them with an actual shellac, and it was real shitty, so I just peeled it back and actually put a nitrocellulose on it without taking any of the markings or anything off. And I colored the nitrocellulose when I put it on, and so I got this real kind of a dark, a real dark walnut look on the nitrocellulose, and it's got some bum marks and whatever. I mean, I throw this thing in the pickup all the time, and she's been on plenty of rides. It's definitely not my oh baby, keep it in the safe type gun. She definitely gets her fun's worth. But one of the things here that it's kind of unique that I don't really see too many people putting on, but I threw a sight mark on here, and I'm gonna show you guys. But you can still use your battle sights through the hole. I don't know if you guys can see that, but under the receiver, this is a receiver mount, scope mount, and I threw the sight mark on here, and we'll see if we can flick it on here for you guys, but let's see if we can see anything. A 1 or 2, or battery's getting a little low. I'll show you a little bit what that's about there, but you can see the little sight mark reticle in there, and my battery's kind of low, but she does shoot wherever you point it, and it's actually kind of became pretty fun. This is great at your about 100-yard range for just putting this dot on whatever's in the field and squeezing it off. But I threw the sight marker on there mostly because you have issues with larger scopes. The gun ejects a shell straight out the top, so you can't have a scope that's really too much bigger than your extractor length here without incorporating a shell deflector over here. And a lot of the shell deflectors that are on the market are relatively junk, and so I decided to just go ahead and keep my high capacity box mags, and with my receiver here that has this scope rail, just go ahead and put a sight mark on it. And about all I do is shooting for this is just pretty much kind of shits and giggles anyway, and that works great in the 100 yards range just for going out and planking and shooting garbage and doing whatever I want. Really fun gun. I'm actually, I've had this thing since like I said, since '97, and I'm totally surprised at the collectability of it now because it's a Soviet. I think I paid out the door. I think I paid about $150 for this thing back in the day. But the only pain in the ass, that I would say is your safety. This has a huge lever safety here. There's a huge danger. If here's safety, obviously. If you're wheeling this safety down, you don't go ahead and just catch the trigger on the way down with the safety. It's probably the dumbest thing I've ever seen on any gun. Bottom line is the safety on this. Honestly, that I would almost consider this an anti-safety because obviously it is safe, but if you want to unsafe it, you have a chance. This thing is so big and thick. I don't know if you guys can see, but it's just so big and thick. It's thicker than the trigger, and it passes directly by the trigger. A guy always has a chance of hitting the trigger on the way down, and then it rests kind of awkward here on the trigger guard. And I almost call that an anti-safety. It's probably one of the most effective, annoying things I've ever witnessed on a firearm as far as functionality. Like I said, this it might be a little hard to one hand, but you can see how big the lever here is. This was for the detachable magazine. The original box magazine has this exact duckbill on this. It is specifically made to drop out upon pushing the pin at the back of the trigger guard. Now, I know a lot of like CNR and different guys, you can't modify them, but what nobody actually realizes is that it was engineered to be that way in the actual blueprints, the factory schematics. And you can see your main carrier pin in the center there, and that is what houses, the stock. Just forward of that, you see your what I call the grabber. and that is your recess grabber that actually kind of grabs onto the front of the duckbill. It's not a straight in and straight out mag like most, but they call it a duckbill mag. It's not like, I wouldn't consider tactical. You wheel that guy way up in. You got to make sure that you got it in. It's got to go way in here first. Let's see if we can, before a guy can force it down. It has a classic hold open, when the gun is empty. It is just by a keeper inside there. And the magazine floor plate will force it forward and actually block the bolt from moving forward. And it's easily, if you pull back on the bolt, you can easily push down with your finger and slide the bolt forward. A little hard with one hand to show you, but I've never messed with my side ramping on the front end. I know there's a tool for this guy. I don't use the battle sights that often since I have the sight mark here. And just shoot, within the 100 yards. You can also use the battle sights by looking through the frame piece here in an emergency. But overall, a very accurate gun. It shoots a 7.62 39. It's the same round as the AK-47, and really fun, really accurate gun. It's quite a long gun. It's much longer than the AK-47. I would consider it, they call it a Simonov auto carbine if you look it up, but it's actually it's rifle length. And as far as the idea behind the weapon, the original Soviet weapon is probably the answer to the M1 Garand. It's a 30 caliber automatic, a self-loading automatic. Although not as powerful as the M1 Garand, it's kind of on the same principle, an auto-loading rifle in a 30 caliber, and quite successful. It's used all over the world, and this one here is Soviet. Loads of fun. I don't really have anything bad to say about the gun. Gas-operated piston. You shoot the bullet, the gas comes up the port, shoves a huge ass piston back in here. There's a spring in here that kicks the bolt back. Boom, kicks this bolt back. I do have a custom military bumper inside here. It is not a typical receiver bumper like what you guys are seeing off the internet. It's actually an H-block bolt carrier bumper designed by the U.S. military for captured rifles. I understand there was a little bit of patent infringement on that, and so I'm not sure if we can get those anymore. But there you go. That is your Soviet SKS. It's the Simonov autoloader with the sight mark. See it a little bit there. 4 different reticles, 30 round detachable mags. They do make drums for these still. I think they're about $119. Bitchin' little gun, tons of fun. Ammo still relatively cheap. So if you guys see me out there planking this off, you'll know what I'm shooting. I know I haven't gave it a lot of love so far, but that's our Soviet SKS Simonov autoloader with the detachable mag. Alright guys, this is Chet signing out. Thanks for watching.